This is Dolany TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome back to yet another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion. I was kind of waiting on that waiver wire thing that happened this morning, but I wasn't expecting exactly that to happen. But I guess of all the Oilers' bottom six, top six, whatever players you want to say that were the next likely waiver wire candidate, yeah, I guess James Neal was really the only man left. So with that, let me get you the official announcement from the Oilers that they have placed James Neal on waivers, and then let's discuss all about this move because it has some intriguing possibilities, I would say, for the Oilers, and of course the cap space and all that. But more or less, it is just a taxi squad move. So the Oilers have placed forward James Neal on waivers. That was about 41 minutes ago from when I clipped it, so that's about 46 minutes ago now because I had to restart my laptop. So unfortunately, I was not able to hop on the news, and of course I was posting that other video you've already seen this morning. So, my friends, James Neal on waivers. What does that mean for the Oilers? Well, in essence, even if he ends up on the taxi squad, it means cap space is what I would understand for the Oilers. Like, compared to kind of the situation when Bouchard was on the taxi squad, you saw some cap savings there. You've seen some cap savings, of course, having other guys on the taxi squad, and now you've got potentially, as of tomorrow at 10 a.m., James Neal on the taxi squad as well. A guy that's just day by day kind of losing his fit within the lineup, right? And think about it, Joakim Nygard, Devon Shore, Patrick Russell, their cap hits don't count against our cap. They count for zero as part of the taxi squad. Of course, for the Oilers, you've got two guys on injured reserve right now, Haas and Bear. And then, thankfully, you've got the LTIR relief from Zach Kassian. So there's a little bit to this for a guy like James Neal, who is the Oilers' fourth highest paid player. But as it currently stands, he finds himself in a little bit of limbo. I really, I wouldn't call this any big kind of uncertain limbo situation. And from what I can understand of reading Jason Greger's tweet here about James Neal, he says James Neal on waivers. This is another move to allow Oilers to move forwards from 23-man roster to taxi squad, so they keep 9 D-man on the roster. While right now, as it currently stands, like I said, you've got Ethan Bear on IR, but he's counting against your roster, and then you've got the 8 D-men as well, the guy that is either sitting out or staying in, whether that be Slater Cuckoo, Caleb Jones, William Legason, whoever that may be, every night, as now you also have Chris Russell, one of those guys. Sorry, I forgot about him. Jeez, time moves fast, right? But Evan Bouchard, Tyson Barrie, Adam Larson, and Darnell Nurse now appear to be your lineup regulars. Ethan Bear is a lineup regular as well, so you kind of see how this is going to take steps forward moving forward. Is the Oilers want to keep that flexibility on defense, and actually one of the biggest components of the Oilers' success over the past 6 to 7 to 8 games has been the fact of having that flexibility on defense available when and if you need it. And you talk about losing Ethan Bear, who, right, by all measures of the standard, is very important to the Edmonton Oilers defense. However, here he finds himself on the IR, and the Oilers find themselves winning a lot of hockey games still. So that's huge because right now you've got Evan Bouchard taking those first few baby steps into the NHL as a regular lineup player. I'm not saying as a kind of tester out of this. Is no longer testing him out. This is building him into a regular lineup player as we go forward through this season and next. And then, of course, you've got kind of the evolution of Darnell Nurse and Tyson Barrie as a top pair that we talked about last night. So, yeah, you want to keep the defense intact as much as possible. And it seems funny to say keep the defense intact because, well, right, 9 defensemen, that's a lot of defensemen to say is an intact defense when you're swapping 1 or 2 parts out every single night. But whatever Dave Tippett has been doing to get the performances he has out of his defense the past several nights, it has been working in terms of the win column. And that's one thing. When a coach goes out there and gets you a win because of how he's running things, you're happy. You don't really have many complaints. You got to get the job done, and he's getting the job done, so you got to be happy. So now we find ourselves in this situation where you keep the 9D and you got to do that, and hence James Neal on waivers, so he can keep mixing and matching the forward group as need be, right? This obviously wouldn't be a necessary move had Bouchard not come on from the taxi squad and just absolutely lit it up since the game against Calgary last Saturday. That this, I do not think, would be a necessary move if that were the case. I don't think you'd be going out there willing to risk James Neal. How high are you risking James Neal? Probably a 1 out of 100 in terms of James Neal getting claimed on waivers at this point, so a 1% chance. But, right, you're still going out there risking a guy, putting him on waivers for the chance to, like I said, free up a little bit of cap space. Still not sure what the cap space savings are. And then secondarily to that, allowing yourself the 9 defensemen and allowing yourself to mix and match your forward group as need be. Now the other side too is I haven't been able to read anything today on if this means Gaetan Oss is ready to come back from injury either. So that's where I'm very intrigued to see what ends up starting up here for the Oilers right away with say a Bear, with say a Gaetan Oss getting back into action and getting healthy once again, because that would be a big time lineup change for the Oilers, let me tell you, to have a guy like Haas, have a guy like Ethan Bear back in the lineup and healthy and ready to go. Because talk about how complicated it gets if Ethan Bear is back in the lineup and you now know Evan Bouchard is a guy you want on your lineup card every single night at the NHL level. That would be something definitely to see Dave Tippett try and navigate that tough kind of conundrum right there, figuring that right side of the D out. Do you scratch Adam Larson, who all of a sudden, after everybody complaining about him, is no longer a complaint? I don't know. See, things, short-term memories here in Oilers land. But ladies and gentlemen, as it currently stands, James Neal on waivers. And you want to talk about a guy that Oilers fans won't have too much of a short-term memory about, because whoever the Flames drafted with that third-round draft pick that we give them next year, that's going to be the toughest part for us, because, oh my goodness, we gave up Milan Lucic and the third-round pick, and we only got James Neal back, right? You get where I'm going? Is there is still plenty of room to complain about the Lucic-James Neal trade, but as it currently stands, you know what, not much to really complain about, because James Neal is going to go to the taxi squad, be able to be shuttled back and forth for a month, and we're going to save some cap when he's on there, and hopefully everything works out just dandy, because who really is out there looking to claim James Neal right now? I don't think anyone's beating down the doors to try and get him, so I doubt we're going to see any kind of claim on James Neal. That said, I just said it, so he's going to get claimed, and away we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tyson. This is Stolany TV. Thank you so much for tuning in to this mid-morning, early afternoon edition of Dolany TV. I am up on out of here.